We're here today for an adjudication in this matter. Present in the virtual courtroom, we have mother's attorney, Renee Wagner. We have the school district's attorney, Dan Fricke. We have father's attorney, Katie Oland. We have the child's attorney, Ann Lewis, and various agency and school officials. Mr. Fricke.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would call Amy Berry as first witness. Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Berry, can you tell me where you're employed?
At Kent Intermediate School District as a truancy case manager.
Okay. And what do you do at the school district?
I am the truancy case manager in the Office of Attendance and Truancy Response. So I follow up on third referrals when they get into court, follow up on attendance on cases that have been already referred to our office. So all the follow-ups.
And what schools fall under Kent ISD?
All of the public school districts in Kent County, in addition to we do work with charter schools, and we will actually accept referrals from private schools as well.
And does that include Grand Rapids Public as well?
Grand Rapids Public does fall under our with us, but under the ISD, but because they are large enough, they have their own truancy department, so they handle their own truancy.
Okay. And how did you become involved with the case regarding GF?
So GF was referred to us originally, I believe. If I could check my record.
Yeah, if you have something you need to look at for notes to refresh your memory, that's a great way to invite the issue and you can look at it.
Okay, let me bring it up real quick. We received a first referral on her. Her was back in October of 2023 is when we were first alerted to her attendance issues. Oh, I'm sorry, that was the last one. I'm sorry. The first one was May 5th of 2023. May 3rd of 2023, my goodness. That was the first referral received on her.
And that first referral, by that time, has the school she's in already been trying to remediate the problem?
They may do a little bit before that, but that first referral is simply just a way to get us involved so that we can send a letter and then the school starts working with the rest of the interventions. They may have done something at that point previous to that first referral. But we received 4 additional referrals after that before the petition was submitted.
And what school district was that?
The first referral we ever received on GF was from Forest Hills, and then the following fall we received one from Kentwood, which is where she was at when we sent the petition.
Where has GF attended school since kindergarten to now? First grade?
Grand Rapids Public.
Second grade?
Grand Rapids Public.
How long did she stay at Grand Rapids Public so I don't have to go through each grade?
Through the 3rd grade.
And so through 3rd?
Through 3rd grade. I have no record of 4th grade on this sheet.
So 5th grade would have been last year. Am I right?
Yeah, 5th grade was at 6th grade was.
And what was her school attendance and tracking from kindergarten to present? What was her attendance percentage records?
Yes, hang on, let me get that for you. In kindergarten, her attendance was 88%. In 1st grade, it was 89%. In 2nd grade, it was 77%. In 3rd grade, it was 64%. 4th grade, we do have partial year on her. That was 33%. 5th grade was 73%. And at the time of the submission of the referral October 18th of 23, her attendance was at 22%.
And what's the standard for school attendance in Kent County?
Anything greater than 90%. So 91% is what we rounded up to.
But technically it could be 90.1 if we're splitting hairs.
That's correct.
Where does that number come from? Can you help explain to the court where that number came from? And if I don't want you to guess, if you don't know, that's fine. And I can call another witness.
Yep, absolutely. So there was our attendance officer, Mark Larson, met with superintendents and the school justice partnership, and they agreed upon the 91% or greater, or 90% or greater, based on research done on graduation rates and school attendance on academic records, that's where they see a decline at that 10%. So it was agreed upon by the Kent County superintendents.
And that group of people was made up of many education professionals, yourself and Mr. Larson included.
I was not part of it at that time, but Mr. Larson was there, and yes, superintendents of a lot of the Kent County school districts.
And when did, so your office gets a referral in 22, 23, the first referral. When do you start taking action?
After that first referral, we sent a truancy notice to the family. On the backside of that is questions to answer, to take back, to prompt a conversation with the school for the family to take to the school to have an attendance improvement plan meeting. And it's to prompt any barriers, to them to add any barriers that they have to talk to the school about. So just to start that conversation. And then at that attendance improvement plan meeting, the hope is that they'll come in for that, and then goals will be set. If attendance improves, we will not get another referral. If attendance does not improve, the school will submit another referral to us, and they have to fulfill certain interventions at that point before we can move on to what's the next part of our process, which is called the investigation portion, which includes a truancy action letter that's hand delivered to the parent.
And where did Miss Faith Fowler sit on those procedural steps? Did she go through all of them?
She did. That's correct. Yep, she went through all of them.
Was she successful on any of the steps?
Well, the attendance improvement meeting did happen. Letter was delivered, but no, attendance did not improve.
What types of services were offered to Miss Faith Fowler to assist her? Were they in the form of those meetings and contact?
Yep. Yes. So the attendance improvement plan meeting was held with the school administration. Many interventions were done by the school social worker, guidance counselor. Referrals were made to outside agencies, counseling. She was referred to Ms. Corey Drake at the crisis intervention program. I don't believe mom really engaged with Corey, so nothing came from that, but those are all part of the interventions that the family received.
So minimal participation in services, the meeting, and no improvement.
That's correct.
Did Miss Fowler ever show up or have contact with your office after that attendance meeting?
So we don't have direct contact. It is all through the school. So no, we did not have direct contact with her.
Well, did she have contact with the school on the issue on this issue after that first meeting?
I would have to check. Give me just a second. I can check on that. It does not look like it. It looks like after the meeting, the school reached out, but parent did not reply the voicemails.
So how many total truancy referrals happened before that truancy action letter?
Before that truancy action letter, there is typically two. We did receive one for GF a previous school year that didn't go further. Attendance either improved or the school did not refer again that school year. The following year, we received 2, and that prompted that truancy action letter.
So once a parent gets to, and I'm covering some of these might seem basic to you, but I'm covering all this because not everybody here has done these hearings. And it's relatively new for the court. So Ken ISD's policy is after 3 referrals from the child's school or children's school, if there's more than one child, you then move into that investigative phase. A crisis worker is involved, and the parent is given several directives on what needs to be done.
Technically, that's after the second referral. So 2. We happen to have a third one on the student just because she was referred the previous year, but starting with the process with that prompted this petition, the second referral prompts this.
Because the second referral was technically the third in her
Right, in the history,
school career.
but yeah. But after a certain time, if a school year goes too long, they start over at the first step again, if it's another year.
So tell the court about GF's academic progress, because it's clear that we haven't had any minimal school attendance, but how is she performing academically?
So I don't have access to grades, but we do get a letter from the teacher asking to them to provide an academic report. The school was unable to actually even do anything with GF because she wasn't in school long enough to actually be tested on anything. They did state that she is not going to be able to graduate with her cohorts and perform with her cohorts with attendance like this.
And as this case progressed, you actually found out that she switched schools to GR Public.
That's correct.
And Ken ISD's authority, Grand Rapids Public still falls under it, but they're just so big that they don't really need you.
That's correct. They have their own truancy protocol that they follow.
And do you know of any services that they're offering to GF now?
I do not know.
And you've actually worked to get attendance updates while this case has been pending, haven't you?
That's correct.
What is the current status of GF's attendance?
She is currently for the school year for her time at GRPS at 44%. She has not been in the school states that they're going to drop her because she has so many unexcused absences.
So when's the last time she was in school?
I can
that
look
we
for
have
you.
records of.
The beginning of February. February 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Has anybody attempted to do a home visit or drive by her residence just to see if she's home at the last known address?
Not to my knowledge. Ms. Drake may have during her time, but I am not sure about looking at the report if she did or not.
And you have school resource officers that if the court were to take jurisdiction, they could work with CPS to do home visits?
That's correct.
You mentioned a teacher letter. Did you obtain one in this case?
We obtained one when we put the petition in, but that was from the school at Kentwood that she did not attend for long. I do not have one from the GRPS school where she's been for the past.
What was the status of the grades based on the communication from the Kentwood Public Schools?
I don't believe that they provided any grades. They just said that they weren't able to test her because she wasn't in school long enough to actually record, like to see if she was behind. I can read it to you if you'd like me to bring it up.
That's fine. I'm referencing a letter from a 6th grade science teacher.
Oh, actually, she was failing most of her grades. Most of her classes, her grades were all failing at Kentwood.
Well, is it fair to say that if you're not doing anything, you're getting zeros and you stay at failing grades?
That's correct, Jess. Yep.
Similar to what's happening at Grand Rapids Public, where they're just gonna not expel her, but just she's not there anymore. She's not going.
Yeah, they technically can't drop her, because they will still hold her CA-60, but what they do is they will drop her for pupil accounting purposes, which means they don't have to count her, so they don't, get dinged for having student that's not attending with their FTE money. So
It sounds like a loophole to get around truancy.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about that.
That
but-
was a jab at Grand Rapids Public. I have nothing further for this witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Lewis, any questions?
Nothing from me, thank you.
Ms. Wagner?
Yes, Ms. Berry, do you know that what mom would have said when she attended the meeting to explain what the problem was at all?
Let me look that up and see what explanation. The attendance improvement meeting you're speaking of?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's okay. You know, I don't see any reason why. She just said that she was not attending due to health reasons to the school. She didn't have any other reasons at that time.
None, did she provide any medical documentation to support the health issues?
She did not. No.
All right, I have no other questions.
Ms. Oland?
I have no questions.
All right, thank you. Mr. Fricky, any follow-up?
Miss Berry, are you aware of any other reasons that Miss Fowler has given for not attending even to present day, or not getting GF to attend to present day?
Yeah, based on Ms. Drake's report, she states that there are some mental health concerns due to domestic violence in a past relationships with GF's father.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor. I would be calling Corey Drake next to pick up where that left off.
Ms. Lewis, any follow-up?
Briefly, Your Honor, Ms. Berry, you mentioned mental health issues and also physical health issues. Are those health issues relating to the child or to mother or to both?
The health issues were relating to the child back when the attendance improvement plan meeting was being held. The other mental health issues, I believe, refer to both mother and daughter.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Oland?
I have no questions.
All right. Mr. Fricky?
Nothing, Your Honor. I would call Miss Drake.
All right, Mr. Fricky.
Thank you, Your Honor. Miss Drake, when did you become involved with this family?
I became involved with the family starting November 6th of 2023.
And what is your role and how did you get notice of this family that needed assistance?
I am the diversion truancy probation officer where KISD contacts the crisis intervention program where we try to work with the families to see what barriers are hindering attendance. We, deal with transportation, clothing, food, mental health, several different issues, and we reach out to the parent to see how I can help. I contact them. We have an initial meeting where they tell me what's going on, what they need help with, and then I try and connect them with resources to have the child attend school every day and on time.
Did you get any participation on those types of services from Miss Faith Fowler?
No, I did call several times, November through early January, and initially we didn't have a new address for Miss Fowler, and we received one. I received it on January 30th, so on January 31st, I actually went to the home and knocked on the door to attempt to see if someone was home. I did receive an answer, but I did leave my business card, and I did receive an email back from Ms. Fowler.
And what did that email say?
She told me that she got the card and that she wanted to reach out by phone. She did acknowledge that she had been getting my voice messages for the previous months, but that she had anxiety and fear of the whole process. She said that the last 6 months they had been going through a lot of stuff, moving, and there was separation from her husband, which is great, which is GF's father. They've had to move 2 times since September of 2023, and that they were struggling. There was a lot of anxiety. She was talking about she had job interviews coming up as well. Asked me, was I available for a phone contact the next day or possibly Monday? I responded that I was available the next day and that there was no reason for her to be fearful or have anxiety, that I was here to help. And I did not receive a response.
And have you received any response from her since then?
No, I have not. I have emailed and I have called from 2/7. She emailed me on 2/1. I emailed back on 2/1. Starting after our last court hearing, I started back emailing and calling from 2/7 until 3/7. And I was always able to leave a voice message, and none of my emails were returned. I just haven't heard back from her.
Were any of your phone calls ever picked up?
No, not the second half. There was one on 12/1, but someone picked it up and it was disconnected.
Is it your position that Ms. Fowler is in dire need of services as well as GF, based on the email from her, and that this just isn't a school attendance problem? There's more to it.
Yes. She did share that there was some domestic violence and then verbal abuse towards GF. So services are definitely, I believe, needed. Yes.
Did she identify who the perpetrator was of that
Her
verbal
ex-husband,
abuse and domestic violence?
her husband.
Okay, and we don't have contact with them. We really don't even have a good address on them, do we?
I don't know. I just have, no, all of my paperwork has just the mother.
So one positive would be that, Miss Faith Fowler got GF out of that situation with Mr. Fowler, but now we have to correct everything and remedy and get those services in.
Yeah. I tried to reassure her in the email that, again, I'm here. There's no reason to be fearful. We're here to help, but she has not responded. And I know she did start a new job, so I would try to call, either real early, mid-afternoon, or even some evenings I've called. I haven't gotten a response. And then I emailed because she seemed more comfortable emailing me, because it was a pretty lengthy email, but I haven't gotten a response since the initial email.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Lewis?
Just briefly, Your Honor. Ms. Drake, when did you reach out to Ms. Berry for an updated address?
I don't know the date. I received the updated address on January 30th.
Right, and you in fact got that from me, isn't that right?
No, I got it from Amy.
But you didn't, from November until the end of January, you didn't ask Ms. Berry for any updated contact
From
information?
November to the end of January, they said they would keep me posted because they were unaware she moved and no one had any idea where she had moved.
Okay. And so did they reach out to you at the end of January to give you the updated address, or did you reach out and ask for it?
I reached out because the adjudication date was nearing and I had asked, and Amy had sent something, but it wasn't to my email. And on the 30th is when we got it clear, and on the 31st is when I went to the home. And
Okay,
that's why it was adjourned the last time, because they didn't feel it was sufficient enough time.
that's fine. I just had questions about the address, so I have nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wagner,
I have no questions.
Ms. Oland,
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Fricky?
I have no questions for Ms. Drake, but I realized I forgot to ask Ms. Berry what her recommendations are.
All right. Ms. Berry, if you would unmute, please. And you're still under oath.
Okay. Oh,
Ms.
I'm
Berry,
sorry,
you
you're just
had
waiting for me to say it. I'm sorry. Go
Well,
ahead.
yeah, you had drafted a petition and listed 3 recommendations in it. Can you testify those and put those on the record, please?
Absolutely. Do you mind if I read them?
That's fine.
It's respectfully recommended that the petition be authorized and that Faith Fowler GF be made a temporary ward of Kent County 17th Circuit Court Family Division. It is respectfully recommended that GF be placed with her mother, Faith Fowler. It is respectfully recommended that Ms. Faith Fowler cooperate with the Department of Health and Human Services and its contracted agencies upon completion of adjudication.
Thank you. I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Ms. Lewis, any questions regarding that?
No, thank you.
Ms. Wagner,
No, thank you.
Ms. Oland,
No, Your Honor.
any further witnesses, Mr. Fricky?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Lewis, any witnesses?
No, thank you.
Ms. Wagner,
No witnesses.
Ms. Oland?
No, Your Honor.
All right, statements, Mr. Fricky.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. The school attendance is extremely poor. There's been testimony of failing grades, and there's been testimony of statements from GF's mother, Faith Fowler, really peeling back the layers of the onion here, that if it was just school attendance, it would have been fixed already. There's so much more going on. And now we have more than a month of not even being at school. There's been no information from the mother. Mother's not participating in anything. I don't know why a parent would do that. It's a high risk of harm to the child. This child, we're not talking about somebody that's in their senior year of high school. She's in the 6th grade. She's in those prime milestones of learning and academic development, and not to mention all the other things that go along with it and social interaction at school. I would ask that the court take jurisdiction and tap in the bigger services that can really help this family out. DHS has gratefully agreed that if adjudication is successful, and I believe it is, we met the statutory grounds for educational neglect with testimony of the failing grades and the school attendance. She's not even attending school enough at this point to even get a grade. I would ask that the court take jurisdiction, and I have nothing further.
All right, thank you, Ms. Lewis.
I have no statements. I will have statements at disposition.
All right. Do you believe it's in the best interest of this child that the court take jurisdiction at this time?
I think I think that is appropriate. And I did actually, on one of the days that GF was at school, I was able to see her at school. But yeah, I mean, I'll reserve the rest we'll see what services CPS wants to put in place now that adjudication has been held.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wagner.
Thank you. On behalf of Ms. Fowler, I would just enter a general objection.
All right, thank you. Ms. Oland.
I would take no position as my client as a non-respondent. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The court finds that the petition has been proven. The allegations in the petition have been proven by preponderance of the evidence, as well as additional allegations regarding, well, essentially an update regarding this child switching schools to the Grand Rapids Public Schools since the petition was originally drafted. The fact that she's a 44% attendance at Grand Rapids Public Schools, and that her last day of school was in the beginning of February of this year. We're now in the middle of March. The court finds that Thomas, the notice of this hearing has been given as required by law, that Thomas Fowler is the legal father of this child, that the respondent, Faith Fowler, did not appear for the hearing today, but she was represented by an attorney. And again, by preponderance of the evidence after trial, there are statutory grounds to exercise jurisdiction over this child. That statutory ground being the failure to provide when able to do so, support education, medical, surgical, or other necessary care for health or morals, and focusing in on the educational piece. The court orders that this child is released or remains in the custody of mother Faith Fowler under the supervision of MDHHS. She's to cooperate with MDHHS and its contract agencies. Continue the attorneys in this matter. We will have disposition on May 1st from 9 until 10 a.m. And is there anything further that the court needs to address at this time?
I don't believe so.
No,
All
you're
right,
right.
No, Your Honor.
thank you. We're
Your
adjourned.
Honor, will that be via Zoom or in person?
Yes, I'm sorry, that'll be via Zoom.
Thank you very much.
And present in the virtual courtroom, we have Ann Lewis, who is the child's attorney. We have Renee Wagner representing the mother. Cynthia Rathburn, who is appearing for Katie Olin, representing the father. And Mr. DeBryan from MDHHS, Ms. Berry from Kent ISD. We have attendance officer Mark Larson, who unfortunately is having technical problems and keeps popping in and out. And we are here for the initial disposition in this matter. And Ms. Lewis.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just for housekeeping purposes, I would like to admit one exhibit, which is Mr. DeBryan's report that's dated April 25th and April 23rd, and then also the parent agency treatment plan.
Any objection?
No objection.
No objection.
All right, it's admitted.
Thank you. I'd like to call Adam DeBryan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. DeBryan, when did you get involved in this case?
So this case came to DHHS on 3/11/2024.
Okay. And just to be clear, you are DHHS and not CPS, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you prepared a report for today's hearing?
I did, yes.
Okay. And can you provide us with some testimony regarding any barriers you identified within the family of GF?
Yeah, so when we got assigned the case, GF wasn't even enrolled in school. She had been dropped from Alger Middle School. And so that was the first barrier. Went up to the school and they, said she was dropped. Tracking her down tracking down her mother has also been another barrier. They switched houses during this kind of reporting period, or maybe they had already switched, but I did not have the updated address. So finding her was also a barrier. Once I finally did track her down and meet with her, we kind of established more barriers to why GF wasn't in school. She said she needed counseling, so we have been able to get her into counseling, although I have not been able to confirm that with Miss Fowler due to her not meeting with me and no showing on appointments. Well, I guess I won't say no show, more or less canceling numerous scheduled visits.
Okay, before we dive deeper into the counseling issue, what address were you given for the family initially?
I don't have that right in my notes currently, but she has since now moved, and I have that address.
Okay, and is the current address you have?
Correct.
Okay.
For some reason, that wasn't relayed to me within the changing of the case from the county to prevention, DHHS prevention.
Okay. But they are currently residing at our address, right? Correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. How did you assist with finding counseling for GF?
Well, provided Ms. Fowler with all of the, I guess, therapist counselors that would accept GF's Medicaid. And she texted me back a couple days later saying that she had contacted one and now was scheduled for counseling.
Okay. Are you going to require GF's mother to sign a release on behalf of GF so you can get records for counseling?
Correct. I mean, I have it already, and she's, it's just needs to be signed, but I have not seen her.
Okay. Have you personally met with GF or are you just dealing with mother?
No, I did meet with GF at school a couple weeks ago.
Okay, and how long has she been re-enrolled?
She's been re-enrolled since April 10.
Okay.
It was basically after spring break. She got re-enrolled a couple days after that. There was a little snag with the bus system, and then there was a car problem the next day. So she got finally to school on, I believe it was Wednesday, April 10.
Okay. What other barriers did you identify, if any?
Well, I mean, just a lack of support system. Miss Fowler trying to do this on her own. Her husband is in Arizona. She admitted that she was overwhelmed. She admitted that she was not utilizing her supports, including it's her husband, GF's father. And so I've called him. We had a kind of family team meeting. You may want to call it FTM with him as well. So he was, unaware of what was going on. Said he wanted to support her. He was there for her, that she should have called him when GF is having tantrums or not coming to, not wanting to go to school in the morning, to give him a call. So just things like that, tries bringing in that support, as well as utilizing other family members to help, because she was complaining about car issues and then she can't get her to school. I know that an aunt has already helped in that area as well. So just utilizing family support connections has been another, strength that we've developed working with Ms. Fowler.
Okay. I know you said you've had limited conversations with mother, but what sort of other interventions have you discussed with her or put in place at this point?
I mean, really, that's about it at this point. The counseling, I think, would be a big piece for Grace for GF, because mom said that, she had tantrums, struggled with behavior, struggled with anxiety, going to school, things of that nature. So I think that's imperative. We see how that goes once that kind of, fully is involved in counseling. Really, those are what we've done so far.
Okay. And so you prepared a parent agency treatment plan, is that correct?
I did, yes.
Okay, and at least on the copy I have, I don't see that was signed by mother, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, is that because you haven't been able to meet with her or because she doesn't agree with what you're asking?
She has not met with me. Again, that was supposed to be signed weeks ago, but has canceled every time.
And you said that GF was dropped from school for lack of attendance, correct?
Correct.
When were you informed of that?
When I went up to Alger looking for GF.
Do you know what date you went up to Alger?
I do not have the specific date with me. It's in our contacts that will come in the next report outside of the adjudication, but I don't have it with me today.
Okay, and then when were you informed that she was re-enrolled?
Mom texted me and told me that she was re-enrolled on April 8th. So basically that was on Monday after spring break.
Okay, and did you receive notification of her re-enrollment from anyone else?
No, I had gone up to the school a few short days later and met with GF to confirm.
Okay, and because you're DHHS and not CPS, what services are you able to offer the family?
I mean, they're really quite limited at this point. I mean, just really engaging the family to get the child back in school is our main goal. And if that doesn't happen, then we continue to kind of assess, continue to try to identify barriers, and then try to, reduce those barriers to get the child back in school.
Okay. I had a question, but I lost it now. Do you have funding to provide services to this family?
There is in some area and capacity we can provide gas cards if transportation is an issue. Bus passes is another thing we can provide. It really just depends on what the situation is.
Okay. And how would you assess the financial situation for these parties, this family?
Well, Miss Fowler did state that that was an issue, but she is. I mean, one of the times when she canceled on me, she texted me and said, "I'm working a temp job today. I can't make it." So she is, I think, working somewhat. Now her husband's in Arizona. He works full time. She said he sends money back. That's why he went to Arizona. I guess he's a chef. And so I think there is income for the family.
Do you know if their current housing is subsidized housing?
I don't know.
Can you look into that?
I can.
Okay, thank you. I have nothing further at this time.
Thank you. Ms. Wagner.
Thank you. Has my client informed you of any domestic violence that occurred between her and her husband?
We talked about that, and she was a little evasive. I mean, her husband hasn't been here in over a year. So she told me he moved in March 2023. And then she just texted me a couple days ago when she canceled and said that she apologized that Grace hasn't been in school as much and that she was moving to Arizona to go move with her husband this summer. So it's not, so it's been a question.
All right. Have you specifically asked her if there's any domestic violence between the two of them?
I did, and she said that she didn't really want to get into it, and she asked that when they were on the phone, when we had the FTM, not to bring it up.
Okay. And you indicated that she is employed, kind of doing temp jobs. Are you able to provide her with any assistance to seek full-time employment?
Not really anything at this time that I know of or that we could offer.
All right. And I know that you've obtained counseling for the minor child. Have you provided my client with any services?
Yeah, she said she is also in counseling herself. And so once again, I mean, I just need that release signed to verify, confirm, and move about in that area, but I haven't been able to do that.
And is your communication with her primarily by way of text or phone or email?
It's almost always text. I've called and they just, they always go unanswered. And then she will text me back normally.
And how often are you in communication with her?
To be honest, almost probably weekly, just because in the last 3 weeks I've been trying to meet with her. And so it's been, and you know, we've only had the case really, for about, you know, a little over a month and a half. So.
All right. Thank you. I have no other questions.
Thank you, Ms. Rathburn.
Oh, yes, I'm asking questions on behalf of the father. Other than this FTM, have you had any other conversations with him?
One other time on the phone, he was really the one that helped me, I think, get in touch with Miss Fowler. I'd been calling and texting. The phone number was good, just no responses. Called him, he answered immediately and said, I will have her call you. And then within a matter of about 5 minutes, I got a phone call from Miss Fowler.
All right. And with Miss Fowler, I mean, I was curious. She texted you back and said, we're intending to move to Arizona. Was it just for the summer or long term?
She indicated long term because she stated the schooling won't be an issue anymore because we'll be moving to Arizona for the summer. I mean, in the summer, and this won't be an issue anymore.
Ah, okay. Did you let her know that she should actually, I guess you'll be keeping in touch with her so you could report back to us if and when that actually happens?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, very good. I have nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis.
I suppose I should have asked, Mr. DeBruin, I guess, what are your recommendations, if any, at this point?
I mean, really just recommend that she continue as a temporary ward of the court, placed in the home with her mother, that Miss Fowler, you know, continue to work the parent agency treatment plan when she signs it, benefit from the parent agency treatment plan, continue to be involved in GF's academic progress, success, and look at reviewing, I guess, this case in roughly 90 days.
Great, thank you. No other questions.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Any follow-up to that, Ms. Wagoner?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Rathburn?
No, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Lewis, any additional witnesses?
No, thank you.
Ms. Wagoner, any witnesses?
No, thank you.
Ms. Rathburn, any witnesses?
No, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Lewis, statement.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think that one thing I can say about this case so far is I don't know where it's breaking down, but there's been a breakdown in communication. I, for one, was not told that Grace was disenrolled from school at any point in time. I then was not informed that she was re-enrolled in school. I feel like that information, because I'm her attorney, I feel like I should have been informed of that information. Another breakdown in communication I'm seeing in this case is the fact that Mr. DeBruin just came on this case, like he said, about a month and a half ago. And he was provided with an address that hasn't been valid since about December. So someone should have been reaching out to him to provide him with a valid address so that his efforts weren't wasted before he was provided with current and correct contact information. Unfortunately, I was not able to see Grace during this, or GF during this reporting period, because I was not informed of these things. I do, now that I know that she's back in school, I do intend to go to the school and see her there. But had I been informed that she was not enrolled, I have sent letters to the home which were unanswered. But I could have attempted other methods of seeing the child if I would have known that of her academic enrollment situation. So I do intend to, if I'm able, go see her at school as soon as possible. But the people that have correct contact information need to be relaying that information to the people that need it. So I'm happy that there will be counseling. I'm happy that Mr. DeBruin has been able to engage and at least lay eyes on the family a couple times, if not only once. And I hope that, that improves over time. I think the recommendations are appropriate, and I ask that the fines and fees be waived for mom and dad.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Wagner.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would support the request for the fines and fees to be waived. Obviously, my client is struggling financially based on the testimony regarding her employment, so I think that would be a huge help to her. I do think that in order to resolve this issue, more services need to be offered to mom, specifically as they apply to her ability to find employment. That's probably a significant piece in all of this, and I would ask that the court order the agency to provide them with such services. Beyond that, I have not had communication with my client, so I take no position on the recommendation.
Thank you. Ms. Rathburn.
Well, thank you, Your Honor. I'm substituting in for Miss Olin, and I don't believe she's had contact with her client, and would not take any position with the recommendations at this time. And also to, say on the record, he is a non-respondent, but I'm sure that his communication with Mr. DeBrien's appreciated, and it looks like it was helpful in the case overall.
All right, thank you. A couple of items before I get into my order. The first is that all reports from the school, therapist, anybody, frankly, should not come directly to the court. They should be going through Mr. DeBrien as the assigned worker on this case, and then he can relay them to the court and all parties as proposed exhibits. The other piece is that the lawyer guardian ad litem, as the child's attorney, needs to be informed of any changes in the child's status, frankly, just as if she were the parent. And that needs to be done immediately. Not disenrolling in school, any kind of important information like that needs to be relayed to both Mr. DeBrien and then Ms. Lewis through Mr. DeBrien. Excuse me. The court has considered the case service plan and other evidence presented in this matter. That the court orders that this child remain in the temporary custody of the court and remain at home with under the care of the mother under supervision of the department. The parents, the mother specifically in this case, shall comply with the case service plan and the parent agency treatment plan. Additionally, the parent, the mother specifically in this case, shall remain in regular communication with Mr. DeBrien, including returning any texts or phone calls that she receives. She's also to cooperate with the lawyer guardian ad litem in providing access to this child so that the lawyer guardian ad litem can fulfill her duties of ensuring that this child is receiving what she needs and is safe. I'll continue. The attorneys in this matter, I will waive all court fees. I'll order that MDHHS provide the services that are necessary in this matter, at least make the appropriate referrals and document those specifically regarding employment and domestic violence. What I'm hearing is really some classic red flags of domestic violence, and certainly at an FGM or something like that, The issue where the father's present, that issue, we can respect the mother's request not to bring that issue up, but she certainly should be referred to appropriate services because it sounds like that is an issue in this case, which of course impacts all the other barriers that this mother is facing in getting her child appropriate education. And Ms. Gibson, do you have a date for our next hearing?
Yes, I have July 23rd at 9 a.m.